Yes, my name is Jay Levy, and I've been working science fairs since 1991. My wife came on board about 1996, and when she came on board, I said, if they want me to be co-chair of judges, she's going to join me. And that was a good choice. This isn't actually how the judges do things, but it's pretty close. We have several categories, and we're trying to be in line with the state and Intel ISAF this year. It's going to be a breakout year for engineering, and then we're doing a phased approach. And next year we'll include life sciences. We have life sciences and physical sciences. Let me go over the physical sciences first. We have chemistry, computer science, earth space science, energy and transportation, and here's the new thing that we're going to be doing for engineering: materials and bioengineering, and electrical and mechanical. We probably need to talk about maybe even making it more granular as time goes by and include chemical engineering, things like that. But that's going to be in work. Then mathematics and physics and astronomy. Then the life sciences are animal science, behavioral and social science, also known as psychology, biochemistry, microbiology, environmental sciences, medicine and health, and plant sciences. And what I'm going to be doing is going through some of the steps that we go through in judging, and also what we do in getting new judges on board. The first thing is the application information. Y'all probably can't read this. I made an eye test on purpose, but this is all on board in the website, SCFH. If you Google SCFH, you can come to where they're talking about judges, and you can, if you want to join up, there are questions that we ask, and this is the where they come out into our database. I'll read a couple of these. One asks for the name of the prospective judge, what company he works for. As far as companies go, we try and get representatives from industry, like oil companies or from NASA or places like that. Parents in our fair can judge, but they can't judge their own students, their own kids, and they also have to qualify through this process. We need their curriculum vitae, their degrees that they have, year awarded, what discipline it was in, and also what science fair experience they have. Some people have been doing this for several years, and those are the ones that we usually send to the more experienced projects. And I didn't have room on this chart, but they're further information about what time of the day do you want to judge. We have 3 sessions actually. One's phase 1 in the morning, and that's the basic introduction to the kids. Then there's phase 2, which is where we take the culls from the morning interviews, and we do our final judging for first, second, third place and honorable mentions. And from those, we get the best of the best, and we judge those at night. And those are done by the category coordinators. That's for the grand awards. And they're in life sciences, 7th, 8th, 9th, and then the junior section. The 9th grade is a separate section. And then the seniors, which is 10th, 11th, and 12th. And we do that for animal sciences, and all those category coordinators, they get together in one big group. And they go from in one group en masse, and so they can hear the same interview from each kid. And there's no question as well. He said this time, but he said something else, that time. So there's a little bit better quality control, I guess you might call it. Then what I want to do is, let's see if I can make this go down. Is there a way we can make this go to the 3rd page? Oh wait, I know how to do it. There we go. Okay. These are our phases. Phase 1 is in the morning. It starts at 9 and goes to 11:30. And I've highlighted what the judges do. They interview the students when I release them. They go, after talking to the kids, they go back to the judging assembly room, and they caucus. And then for phase one, like I was saying, they trade projects. In other words, half the judges went to this half of the kids, like the odd numbers, and the other half of the judges went to the even numbers. And then they say, well, these were the best ones that I found and the ones I looked at. And they then give those top projects to the category coordinator, who's really like the supervisor of the judges. And then that goes on to phase two. And it's the same kind of a process where they interview the new students that they hadn't seen before. And then there's a loop here. If they want to go back and talk to the kids some more, they have the opportunity to do that if they still have time. This one goes from 1 o'clock to 5 p.m. Then they give those top projects to the category coordinator, who then gives it to us, my wife and I, who then forward it on to, it's going to be going to our database as far as first, second, third places and stuff like that. But also, if they have a project that they think in their individual category is worthy of being considered for grand prize, this goes through this pathway right here. And then phase three is after supper. It starts at 6:30 to 10 p.m. And that's where just the category coordinators, like I was saying, cluster together and they go to the different disciplines, the divisions. And we do have enough for looking at all three age groups and all of the categories. And that's where they come back and caucus and eventually decide on the first, second, and third places. Now, it's not just seniors that can go to the Intel ISEF. We do also make allowances for really good ninth grade projects. And so if there's a ninth grade project that is deemed really great and can beat everybody else, they will tell the senior group, and they will come over and they will talk to the kid as well. And then they make the final caucus and decision from there. Are there any questions for this? I know it's also busy. Oh, okay, that's good.
How many judges?
Oh, last year we had about, for total number of judges for phase 1 and 2, we had 420. And we just had enough. There's, 1,200 projects I think we have, and everyone has to be looked at least once or twice in the phase 1. So it's an effort to do, recruiting effort. And thank goodness Dr. Dunbar and Dr. Damian are here to beat the bushes for us. Any other questions? Okay. All right. What do they ask the kids when they talk to them, when they interview them? Well, we give them guidelines. It's a judging scoring sheet. And this is also a I-test. I think we can get a bigger copy of this. Okay. Is that easier to read? Maybe not in the back. Yeah, that'll do it. Last year, for the phase 1, we had 7,000 sheets because everybody has to talk to maybe 10 kids. There's 400 judges, so you can figure out. These sheets are saved until the end of the fair, and then they're destroyed. Also, the decisions of the judges are final, because you may have a child who has the cure for the common cold, but if he didn't have a good oral presentation at the time that the judges were there, it's it can't be repeated. So that's why we have to say the judges that were on the floor at the time, their word is what goes, which is why we have caucusing and we have several judges see the kid at the same time. That kind of cleans them pretty well that way. Let me go over these real quick. First thing is creativity and originality. Now, a kid's project should be something that, like, even if it's assigned, they should do something that they're interested in, something that's meaningful. Otherwise, the judges can tell that you just checked a box and you just showed up, and you don't get credit for just suiting up. You have to do some work, and we have to know that. Also, we can tell by talking to the kids how much, in their answers, how much help they had from their mentors or their parents or something like that, and how much work they did themselves. So that's a vetting process that we have for the kids. Now, the project board, and I'll get to this in a second. We have a item there for lab notebooks, and the project boards are really supposed to be a synopsis of what's in the lab book, and so that's why we say they're really required for us. I don't know. We need to change those wordings, I guess. There, that's a better picture. But you have hypotheses that have to be there, conclusions. Did the project do what you wanted it to do? And if it did not, we need to know, do you understand the source of the problem, why it didn't work? And also, what is your source of errors? You'd be surprised how many kids say, well, it was perfect. We didn't have any problems at all. And so that raises a red flag for us, because everything has problems, especially at that age level. We do creativity, that's a duplicate, the project design creativity and originality. What my wife does during the phase one, she invites the judges when they're looking at their projects to check for creativity. We have a special award from U of H. I think we do it for both the main campus and downtown, where they're looking at the most original and most creative project. It may not even be a winner, but if it shows a lot of originality and creativity, then we give them recognition for that. Now, everybody, even at the elementary school, junior level, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders rather, should begin to understand the scientific process. And so when we're talking to the kids, they don't ask them questions like as if they were PhD theses, but they have to understand, what they did and what processes they went through to get those conclusions. They have to have a good bibliography or resource list. How thorough were they in their development? And this is where the lab notebook comes in play. Now, did they have, one way we have to decide about whether one project's better than the other is what level of skill did they use to perform their experiments. If it's just like hitting a ball into the air and seeing how far it flies, and then the other person develops something that is really unique or creative, then we have to judge which was the better project that way. Conclusions. That's where I was saying if there's not adequate understanding of why it worked or why it didn't work, that's something that we will have to delve into further. Quality and coherence of the oral presentation. Now, sometimes these kids can be real showmen, and they can talk up a blue storm, but if their project is hollow or shallow, that's not going to get them anywhere. They have to be very well versed, but not verbose, I guess is a way to put it. It has to be understandable by all the judges. And the display, the project poster board, notice it's at the bottom. That's it shows what organization it has, and sometimes people make their boards too busy, or sometimes they put all their results in the wrong place where it's difficult for the judge to read it or something like that. And And usually, by the time they get to our fair, that's should be worked out by the earlier, lower level fairs. And then each one of those gets a maximum of 10 points and a total of 100 possible. Then what we recommend the judges do is something called normalization, which is where you add up, you look at all your projects, and the ones that you like the best, that had the higher score, you reassign it a number of 100. And the next one that's important, you assign it 95, and so forth, and 90, all down the road. And then what they do during the caucus is they will add up all those numbers, the normalized numbers, and the ones with the higher numbers automatically will go forward. And that's an easy way to do it. Sometimes they just say, well, I just think it's a better project and I'll fight you for it or something like that, so that'll work too. Okay. I think that's the end of it. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
When you say you're normalizing score, you're normalizing the score for a particular judge?
Each judge normalizes his score. Okay. And then you combine those normalized scores, like Project 102 had 1,000 points, whereas Project number 3 had 1,500 or something like that. When you add up all those 95s and 90s and stuff like that for each individual judge. And that way you can do like, a floating to the top kind of a thing. Any other questions? Yes?
I understand you have a limited number of judges, but is there, perhaps you said it, maybe I didn't hear it, is there how many judges minimum will see the project?
Should be at least one or two, at least one, but usually it's two or more during the morning session. And then in the afternoon session, they don't see all the projects. They just see the ones that are the calls. Have you had an experience where that hasn't happened, Ron?
Well, yes. I guess I think it was one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's kind of tough if you stand there the whole day and you
Yeah.
want to share your project.
Yeah, we instituted something new in the last couple of years, and I'm not sure when this happened to y'all, but we say towards the end of the lunch, before lunch, we make a call to anybody who has not seen a judge, not seen at least one judge, to come to the middle of the floor, and we have a cadre of judges that are finished, and they go back and they judge that project, and then they go back to the individual categories and report the results to them. So if that hadn't happened, maybe it was too early or something like that. It hasn't. But we're trying to institute that as a common practice. Okay. Yes?
If you have two judges for one project, is it two judges, one sheet, or two judges, two sheets?
Two judges, two sheets. Yeah.
Is there a guideline on how long
Yes.
judges are supposed to
Yeah.
interact?
Because we had so many projects, we have a limit of 5 minutes per project. And that includes looking at the abstract, looking at the board, the questions and answers, the interview itself. Like I said, sometimes these kids can talk your ears off if you're not careful. So yeah, we have a limit of 5 minutes. We have to, because there's just so many kids and so few judges. Yeah.
And it would be a good idea, like for my case, because I handle lots of kids, at least I know now to tell them, okay, you need to limit it to a presentation of 3 minutes so that we
No,
have
5 minutes.
room
We'll
for
give them
interaction
extra.
with
Yeah.
the judges.
Yeah. Now, for the phase 3, since there are fewer projects to look at, there's like one for every category. They're given more time. It's just that we also have time constraints for the kids. They have to be let go. The juniors, the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, have to leave by 8 o'clock in the evening, so they can meet their rides and stuff like that. And then the 9th graders we let go at 9 o'clock. So there's several reasons why we have to restrict the time that they talk to them. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there any difference, or are you looking at something different from one phase to the other phase or to the next phase, or is it just the mechanics of phase one you do it individually, phase two you do it in pairs or something like that?
Well, it depends on the team themselves. Each team has a captain, and the captains and all them, they report to the category coordinators. So whatever they are comfortable with, we don't put any restrictions on them. That's why we let them caucus instead of filling out spreadsheets or anything. We feel that that's a little bit better way of looking at things, at the projects. Anybody else? No, I think I did it in about almost 20 minutes or so. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate that, to be able to give us an overview, an in-depth review as well of the judging process and what that entails. And so judging is a lengthy time frame. It differs from that of state as well as that of Intel, just because of the duration that's allowed, and also the determinant is the number of projects that we host at the regional fair. But with that being said, we are now going to move on to our next guest speaker, who is Dr. Mary Jo Parker, and she is at the University of Houston downtown, and she also works with the judging. However, it's judging with special award agencies. And so please welcome Dr. Mary Jo Parker.
Can I use some of your slides?
Yes, go ahead.
So just if you take me back to the,
Which one?
a little further. Right, yeah. Well, good afternoon. Hopefully you people back there already know this stuff, right? Because you were winners, right? It's good that we're having this meeting simply because a lot of students and teachers and other principal sponsors really don't know some of this information. I started a year before Jay came on board, helping with the Regional Science Fair, and at that time I was a magnet school principal in Conroe ISD, but I'm at the university now. And it was kind of a mystery, a puzzle to be solved. Every year I'd learn a new piece. And so getting it in one fell swoop is going to be beneficial to anybody who's here and share the information. So what's the difference between place judging and special award judging? Place judges, they are the people that look at, in an expert manner, they look at the content. And does it fit the category, and is it the best of show within that category? So place judging sends projects and students' projects forward to the next level. Special awarding judges, they have a different capacity. Now they do judge, but if you get a first place by a special awarding agency, you might get a prize, you might get a certificate, you might get a pat on the back, recognition that you were good, but it doesn't take you anywhere. But why are the special awarding agencies important? They are important for us here in Houston and the greater Houston area because we have so much STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, computer science, health care, industries that you students are the feeder system to these particular eventual employment agencies, right? I mean, how many of you here want to be a doctor? Let me just see that. Okay, there's a few of you. And we have MDs that walk the floor. I'm going to tell you the name of that organization in just a minute. How about engineers? Anybody? Okay. Mathematicians. Oh, I'm so sad. Well, okay. Well, you engineering people, you could do math also, but anyway. So there's a lot of variation as to who participates in the special awarding agencies, but definitely they're going to bring questions that deal with how do you, as a student researcher, see this fitting into the world? How can this help society? How can it help an industry, so to speak? And it doesn't have to be a particular project. Now, Dr. Damian and Dr. Dunbar, they do a wonderful job of trying to solicit previous participants, NASA, I'm trying to think of some others, Hewlett-Packard, United, just a lot of different agencies that employ STEM people to come to our fair and to help judge. Now, they might also want to donate some money to help the fair carry on. They're definitely going to donate some sort of prize. Now, it might be I'm trying to think of what I saw last year. It might be a scholarship to a 4-year university for 4 years if you elect to go to that university and can get in. Or it might be let's see, I think I saw some, not iPads, but something similar that offer, yes, Kindle books. Some give plaques, some give checks, some give gift certificates. So and some ask you to come and present your poster at their final society meeting, if it has to be a society. Some of them might want you to come to a special day that their company has honoring those awardees. So it's a big deal. Now, the reason I wanted to borrow Mr. Levy's slides, you notice I don't have any, because I want you to look at these categories. So of course we have the life sciences, and before that we had the physical sciences. And I'm going to read the names. Now this is not last year's list, but I just want to read you some names, and I want you to think about which category do you see them judging. Are you with me? Now I'm going to call on you in just a minute. This is a test. No, it's not really. All right, the American Meteorological Society of Houston. Anything there? Anybody? What? Space science. Anything else? Anything else?
Physics and astronomy.
Okay, yes. Anything else? Maybe. Flip it up, Dr. Delmachon. Anything here? Environmental. Look at that. So now, why am I doing this with you? I won't go through all. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to tell you why it's important. You look at the list of special awarding agencies that's posted at the SEFH website, because that will give you an idea of, if you're interested in those prizes beyond first, second, third, etc. place, right? How you need to tweak your project, connect it, if it's connectable. Now, if you're doing a psych project and you're trying to get the American Meteorological, well, I guess you can look at gloominess and rain and non-gloomy, but no, if you're not already studying that, it may not fit. All right, let's see this one. Gulf Coast Safety and Training Group. Now let's look up here. Anybody? What? Yes. Anything else? Anything else in the physical? Training, safety, engineering. What else? Is there safety in our space? Absolutely. And physics and astronomy. What about animal science? Safety. Yeah. So some of the special awarding agencies transcend across all the categories that we have in the fair, but not all of them. Some are. I'm going to give you an example of a very specific one. The Houston Area Dietetic Association. Now let's look. Let's look at life science first, since we're here. Where do you see that might fit? Medicine. Okay, now you know the answer, Ms. Perez. Okay. Medicine health. Now, did somebody say something else? I thought I heard a different one. No? Medicine health. But believe it or not, if they're looking at some sort of plant enzyme that can contain plaque, might these people in plant science have a chance at that award? Absolutely. So when you think about your projects, think about how can I make it unique? What does it transcend? Even though I'm in engineering, what special awarding agencies can I connect to? You know, if you want to make it more appetizing for the special awarding agency judges to come and visit you. Now, how do they work? I'm gonna let you, could you go forward just a couple, just a few more, Okay, look right there. So now, this is busy, but it does tell a great story. So for the special awarding agencies, they do not begin in the morning. Those are strictly place judges. We begin at 1 p.m., go till 5, and then we also continue through the evening session. Now the difference between the place awarding judges, they start and they're in a second phase and are narrowing down. For the special awarding agencies, you may have the Army and Navy coming at 1, and the doctors, the doctor group that we have coming at 1, and then you won't see them the rest of the evening. We'll have different special awarding agencies coming in the night session. So they come and they figure out their tables, their categories, and how many there are and how many they need to judge. Now, another little difference in this special awarding agencies, when you are gone at lunch, right? So leave your boards and leave everything where it needs to be. They sometimes walk to count how many projects, but they know the importance of talking to you. That's the key. That's how they can help you and give you constructive criticism or praise, right, on your particular project, or ask you some questions. Have you thought about this? Da, 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 da. So ours is a little bit different from this. Now, if you'll go forward, Dr. John. Okay, we do give the special awarding agencies this same judging sheet. And for the most part, they use this. However, because they're their own entity and they're all volunteer, even though yours are volunteer also, and because they're special awarding agencies, they really have a little more leeway than the place judges. We can allow them to use a little bit different system, and they don't have to tell us what they're using, but we suggest to them strongly they use this. The main thing to remember about the special awarding agencies, their companies are supporting them in coming to our fair. They have given them the day off, or a half a day off, for them to come, be coordinated by one person, come up with their results, and then that company uses that. It's a PR piece for them. Everybody should want to be contributing to the STEM career workforce that we potentially have in Houston. And if they're not, we're trying to find those companies and get them involved. So I would say this to you. Let me check my notes real quick. I think I touched on everything. One other item. So sometimes you'll hear a place award, although you don't know they're a place award. You'll hear the special awarding agencies read first, their winners read first, and then you'll hear that same name under the special agency awarding places read first, and then you'll hear the winners in the place. Sometimes when agencies donate prizes, but they can't send people, then they will give us direction and say, we want the first, second, third place in junior teams, 9th grade teams, and senior teams to get first, second, third. So they will tell us which of those winners get their prizes. So it's not always that somebody is going to be sent to talk to you, although we encourage them to come. But we do have prizes from, Intel, for example, and sometimes the Marines, the Army, the Navy. Sometimes they send one person to do all of the categories and divisions that we have. And so sometimes some other judges will, if they have a short category, they'll go and help. Or that person will have to come up with a scheme that they're going to judge. Who are they going to judge? So just know that we don't guarantee that, and we don't say you should get one person talking to you. We hope you get at least 1 to 2 talking to you. It just depends on how many special awarding agencies and how many people they send that we have. Now, if you are a parent, or if you students know of parents whose students who are not here participate in Science and Engineering Fair, and you would like to get your industry involved in this Science and Engineering Fair, you know, I can give you my contact information. You have Dr. Damian's, and we would welcome you to contact us so that you can get in touch. At the website, I believe it's still going to be this way, you can sign up at the website. If you know of a special awarding agency that wants to participate, they can sign up there and then they'll get contacted. So it's a great opportunity for you to talk with industry people. And I'm going to tell you now, let's see, I said before Jay, so that was 1989 or 90, right in through there that I started. And I remember my first couple of years, there was one young lady who, and I think she was in HISD, Houston Independent School District, and she was awarded an internship, paid internship at the medical center because her project involved Bayer aspirin. And she was funded by the Bayer Corporation, who they did not come to judge, but the people who judged in that particular industry, which I don't have knowledge of that at this point, they contacted them, and so she got that funded. Now, of course, you know that the Houston Museum of Natural Science and the Engineering Council, is that it? Engineering Council, what is it? Society of Houston, okay, ECS, whatever it is, okay. They sponsor the Houston Museum internships, where you can work all summer, display certain areas, and then get paid a stipend as well. And I'm going to tell you, for those, truly important you be able to present with poise, field questions, and be comfortable with your material. You know, if your parent helped, and they know it well, but they didn't help you go to the sources to know the information well, your parent might win the prize, but they're not there presenting, right? But that's not going to happen. Most parents really want their students to do the work, right? Okay, I think at this point I've covered most everything. Any questions, anyone? Now, who judged? Who were the special awarding agencies that judged last year? Go to the SEFH website and they have a list. And you can see who was there. In fact, they probably have lists from, I don't know, 50 years we've been doing this here in Houston. 50th anniversary 2 years ago, so 2 or 3 years ago. So there's a lot of special awarding agencies. All right. If you don't have any questions, we thank you very much.